Hello, and welcome to our next segment in our professional automotive sales video training series. My name's Steve Current, and we'll be discussing the first step of the 10-step selling system, the professional meeting and greeting. This is the initial customer contact you're going to have that will set the stage for the rest of the sale. As I've mentioned in other segments, many times customers' defenses are pretty high when they come to a dealership. They're fearful that you're going to waste their time, they don't know who you are, they're scared they're going to waste their money, and so they may be a little bit reluctant to meet and greet you. But that doesn't change our job, and that is to conduct a professional meeting and greeting. And it's really relatively simple. The first step in the professional meeting and greeting is to look professional, because customers do gauge you upon your appearance, that first impression, as they say. And the more professional you look, the more they'll be excited about talking with you and listening, more importantly, to what you have to say. And the better you look, the better your dealership looks, the better the product looks. So you always want to dress for success and dress appropriate to your dealership environment. Obviously, sometimes in the summer you may have more casual company attire, but you always want to look your best, look clean, look crisp, look sharp. The next segment that we're going to discuss in the meeting and greeting is to simply smile, to be happy to meet this customer. Selling is nothing more than a transference of feelings, and their first impression of you being happy and friendly to meet them is going to make them a little bit more comfortable in dealing with you. And you want to make the smile genuine and not phony. If you don't have a prospect to talk to, you're out of business. So that opportunity that you're talking with right now, that up, is something to be excited about. So let it show on your face. Give them a nice, friendly smile. The next part of the meeting greeting is to simply shake hands with your customer. And that means you want to give them a nice, firm handshake, but certainly not a bone crusher and nothing too weak. Selling is that transference of feelings. You want to transfer that confidence through your handshake. And you want to shake everyone's hand that will let you. Men, women, children. Make that contact. It'll connect them to you, and it'll connect you to your customer. After the handshake, welcome them to the dealership. And you want to make sure you introduce the complete or full dealership name. Welcome to Rosenthal Landmark Honda. Very simple, but very important. You want to let them know that you're happy to see them, to go along with that nice smile and handshake, and let them know you're glad they're here. That first impression, again, is so critical. So just welcome them to the dealership. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Glad to meet you. Whatever. Make them feel comfortable. Next, you'll want to introduce yourself to your customers. That is, give your first name and your last name. Always give what you want to get in return. If they say, "My name's Bob," you simply inquire, "Bob, and your last name?" Normally, they'll feel comfortable giving you their last name. Sometimes they don't. You'll have to work on that later on. But most people, when you give your first and last name, they'll do the same. And you want to make sure you meet everyone. If it's a couple, don't assume it's a husband and wife. Ask their name. If they have children, the kids always appreciate that as well. Now, one secret that you want to take advantage of is most salespeople out there, the competition, tend to forget the customer's name right off the bat, just like you and I do. Well, if this happens to you, my suggestion is after a few minutes of conversation, politely say, "I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names. Do you mind if I write your name down?" Then you take out your handy dandy pocket pad. This is a very powerful selling tool that'll come in handy throughout the sale. And I simply write down their name, their first name, their last name, and even a phonetic sounding spelling of their name so I don't mispronounce it. Once I've done that, I now have it at my disposal and I can access it anytime I need, simply by saying, "And hold on, Bill Smith," or whoever. you'll have their name under control. Very important selling skill, and that way you can personalize the sale throughout the entire process. All right, so let's discuss some of the mistakes you want to be sure to avoid. Some of them, like the one I mentioned earlier about meeting a man and a woman and assuming they're husband and wife, you don't want to make that mistake because that can be embarrassing. A bigger mistake is to meet only the husband and ignore the wife. You don't want to ignore anyone in a group coming to a dealership trying to buy an automobile. Now, a common mistake comes up when you try to determine whose hand do you shake first. And a lot of people say, oh, you always shake the man's hand first. Not true. It's whoever is closer to you. Because if you walk past a woman to shake a man's hand first and she's the primary buyer or just feels insulted, you could have lost the sale right there in the first 60 seconds. So that's a big mistake you want to avoid. Another mistake is to, let's say, meet an older gentleman and a younger woman and assume they're father and daughter, or vice versa. You don't know, and again, that can be a little awkward. Another mistake you want to avoid is not giving your full name when you meet a customer. If I introduce myself as Steve and then you say Bob, well, I don't know who Bob is. I want to make sure that I give my name, because sometimes salespeople don't even do that. They'll meet somebody and say, hi, welcome to the dealership, and you are? And the customer's talking to a stranger. And you may give your name and not get theirs. You may mispronounce their name, and oh, they may not say a word about it, but that drives them crazy. That's why I always write down the phonetic spelling of their name. You could also, when you meet a customer, look too casual or sound too casual. I mean, if you look sloppy, if your tie's crooked, if your sleeves are rolled up, you're wearing sunglasses, that can form a very negative first impression. And the same thing holds true if you're with a customer and you don't take the time to do a professional meeting and greeting. You can just start talking to somebody that isn't even paying attention to you. So you want to make sure that you do the right things. That is, you want to look professional. You want to smile when you meet your customer. Set up that good, warm feeling between you and them. You want to shake hands, make that physical contact with everybody as best you can. Welcome them to the dealership. Let them know you're happy to have them with you at that moment to show them the vehicles. Hopefully, they'll fall in love and buy. And of course, introduce yourself, your first name, your last name, get theirs, and of course, write it down at the appropriate time. If you do that, you've set the stage to move forward in the sale and go to step 2, which is qualifying the customer. And the better you do step 1, the easier it is you do step 2. So we're going to cover qualifying in the next video segment. We'll see you then.